Folks, 6 hours a day I do show prep, and sometimes when I'm doing the show prep, I say to myself, I've got to do something a little bit different to take my mind off of this, or I'm going to be hanging underneath the 77 overpass. Because some of it gets sort of depressing, where we've let ourselves go. So I always go to something like music. So up next, they've been on the Huckabee Show. They have a YouTube video that's had 15 million hits called Press 1 for English. The Rivoli Review.
Thank you very much, Columbia. Nice to be here.
Yes, it is.
Hey, how many of you folks are a little bit tired of that hope and change we've had going on? But folks, I've lost all hope of having any change left in my pocket if we don't get this guy out of here. So folks, I need you to listen up. Let me see some hands out there. Listen up, listen up, listen up. Here's what you need to know. We're reclaiming America with the power of our vote. We the people of America, we're standing tall, and this is what we say. They better cut, cap, and balance that budget, my friends are at the polls. They'll pay with their jobs, they'll pay. Enough is enough, time to stop this silly stuff. They're spending too much money, yes, our debt is high enough. Not millions, no, not billions, yes, it's trillions now, my friends. We're out of money, we're out of time, this spending has got to end. Listen up, listen up, listen up, here's what you need to know. We're reclaiming America with the power of our vote. We the people of America, we're standing tall, and this is what we say. You better cut, cap, and balance that budget, my friends are at the polls. They'll pay with their jobs, they'll pay. We must unite to win. Will you join with me, my friends? You must not turn a blind eye to this fiscal mess we're in. If you want to defeat Obama, there's just one sure way to go. You gotta get on your feet and get to the polls and exercise your vote. Listen up, listen up, listen up. Here's what you need to know. We're reclaiming America with the power of our vote. We the people of America, we're standing tall, and this is what we say. They better cut, cap, and balance that budget, my friends are at the polls. They'll pay with their jobs, they'll pay. Are you gonna make them pay, South Carolina? Yeah! Listen up, listen up, listen up. Listen up, listen up, listen up. Are you tired of politics as usual, South Carolina? Well, then it's up to you, the people, to stay vigilant and do something about it. You see, we, the people, are the government. We hire them and we can fire them. So if you don't like what they're doing, then you need to stay vigilant. You need to educate your friends, educate your family, educate your neighbors. You might make some enemies doing it, but you have to get on the ball. You gotta volunteer, you gotta drive them to the polls, drag them to the polls, you gotta vote.
There's a gray Jeep out there with a California license plate that needs to be moved.
It's blocking somebody.
Blocking somebody, I guess, from disembarking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't park, we don't want to have to have it.
They do not wish to have it towed. Roger that. Folks, in South Carolina for quite some time there have existed these organizations. They work in the background like ninjas, like the shadowed assassins. I looked for this lady for a long time. I finally got her on the show after a 6-month quest for somebody in the same cities in which I broadcast. Not very shy, not very retiring. When she's talking, it looks like a shadow boxing warm-up. The head of the South Carolina Policy Council, ladies and gentlemen, Ashley Landis.
I have never heard anyone describe me as quiet and in the background. Clearly, I am not doing my job right. Thank you all, and thank you very much, Bill. All right, you guys know the South Carolina Policy Council, 25-year-old organization. We are the hometown team. And I got a couple of things to say, because I know you want to hear from a lot of other folks. But you all know what my job is. It's the tough talk. It's standing up here and getting right on down to it, and you know they don't like us very much in the State House or in the complexes in Columbia, and probably not up in the Capitol if they knew who we were. But I'm going to tell you folks, for all the talk about elections, these days elections feel to me kind of like a spectator sporting event. You got your teams, you got your players, you got a lot of emotion, and then the game is over. Now what? And what I want to talk to you guys about tonight is the now what. Because after the elections are over, we have a lot of work to do. And here in South Carolina, we have made the goal of making our state the freest state in America. Is there anything else worth fighting for? Where else do you want to live? Okay, so how are we going to get there? Well, this is where all this comes in. We are one of the first states through which the presidential primary candidates have to come. So, I've got something I'd like to ask you guys to do, and you've heard me say it before. First step, when they come to South Carolina, let's treat all politicians and candidates not like celebrities, but like employees.
Yeah!
So, what does that look like? Folks, we have to look beyond rhetoric in South Carolina. We're in a lot of trouble in this country. You know, we don't have the union problem here. But guess what? We still have one of the highest unemployment rates in the nation and one of the lowest per capita incomes. Why? Because it is less about the unions and more about the politicians who give them power. That's the problem we have to solve. It is about the political ruling class and the rest of us. And as far as I'm concerned, they're all in that category together. It is politicians who have empowered big organized labor. It is politicians who have empowered big business. It is politicians who have empowered all of the groups out there that you see living off of you. So what are we going to do about it? I have a suggestion. Instead of choosing candidates based on energy and charisma, we need to look deeply, not just in the White House, but in the State House, and choose those candidates who have a strong core governing philosophy that is simply this. I don't want to hear from another politician who tells you how he or she will and can and create jobs, or a politician who will deliver economic change and hope, or a politician who will deliver a good healthcare system, or even a politician who will deliver a good education system. I don't want to hear about any more politicians' systems.
That's right.
Instead, I would challenge you to choose candidates no matter what party or across the board for what office. Choose a candidate whose core governing philosophy is this. Politicians, American elected officials, do not have the role of designing, managing, or planning, delivering systems, managing, creating jobs, but rather of defending your right to do it for it yourself. Now that is the kind of candidate we need to grill in the state of South Carolina, and frankly, the kind of elected official we need to produce in the state of South Carolina. But that does not start with them. It starts with you. So, my fellow South Carolinians, do you want to live in the freest state in America?
Yeah!
Then we will have to do things differently. We will have to hold them accountable. We will have to demand not just a tax plan, but every single tax ought to be the lowest in the country right here.
That's right.
We want self-governance, and if you want independence from D.C., then we want to look at presidential candidates who support states' rights to govern themselves. And South Carolina politicians who do not take or spend federal money propping up state programs that we don't need and can't afford. It all works together, folks, and we got a lot to do. Now, that was your commercial break for what we're going to do after the election. And I will give it back to those who are going to talk a little more about the election. But I hope to see you all, not just in November, but in December, when we are going to get to work. No matter who is in the White House or the State House, we are going to push all the way to the bank, because this movement says business as usual is over. No, really. It's really over. Thank you.
There's a reason I'm on the radio, because I look like I sound. I have the prototypical face made for radio. Some people, though, they can do it, they can take it to the airwaves and they can take it on television as well. Some of you are saying, thank God it's not me. Next up, she is the CEO of LLC Capital Consulting. She also has a show on Fox 21 here in town. I get it right. She's on Fox. She's on television. She brings it. She is like I, nonpartisan, so she gets to beat up on both sides. Ladies and gentlemen, Crystal Reed.
How are you all this afternoon? We can do better than that. How are we this afternoon? I'm great, and I couldn't think of any place rather to be than out here in this 150-degree heat. Couldn't think of any place else. You know, when I was talking with my friends this afternoon, they said, Crystal, why are you coming to this event? You know it's bad politics to come to the Tea Party Express rally. And so I politely hung up the phone. I didn't hang up the phone. But I said, really? I said, government works best when all citizens are informed. Not just Republicans, not just Democrats, not just conservatives. My job as a political analyst with Fox and my job as a consultant is to not pick sides, because quite honestly, both political parties have done a terrible job at reaching beyond their base and engaging the average citizen. So my job as an analyst is to go beyond just what the rhetoric is, and to go beyond that to understand that we all have to have the responsibility of getting the facts. Actually, this morning on my show, I had Boyd Summers of the Richland County Democratic Party, and I had Rich Bowen of the Lexington County Republican Party talk about the results of the CNN presidential debate. I got lots of calls saying, Crystal, you can't do this. You can't have both people on your show. And I said, you're absolutely wrong, because government has become corrupt. And we as private citizens, we have the right, we have the responsibility to alter or to abolish it when it becomes corrupt, and it has become corrupt. I decided to enter politics 10 years ago because I knew absolutely nothing about the system. All that I knew was that our laws said one thing, and what actually was happening was doing something completely different. And for a very long time, I aligned with one particular political party. And I stopped doing that about 4 years ago because I realized that I'm intelligent, I have a brain, and I can think, and they were insulting my intelligence by telling me, well, you have to vote for this person because they're of this political affiliation. Wrong. I will make the politicians earn my vote every single time, and I challenge you and I behest you to do the same. Because when politicians come to the state, they can't just tell me, well, Crystal, these are my platforms, this is what I say. No. I had an interview with Herman Cain a few weeks ago, and I asked him some pretty tough questions. And if you'd like to see that interview, I can forward it to you. But I would not be satisfied with just having the basic responses. I asked the tough questions, and I got a lot of heat from that, both from friends of Republicans and both from Democrats. I got a lot of heat from that interview. But government will not change unless we make them change and unless we make them hear our voice. So upcoming in 2012, we have some unique opportunities to elect people, to elect candidates that reflect your personal particular ideology, whatever that may be. And because of that, I decided to host a nonpartisan campaign training October 22nd. If you'd like more information about that, I'll share that with you after my speech. But regardless of whatever your political affiliation is, I encourage you to do three things. One, be informed. If you'd like, you can tune in every Friday morning at 7:30, where I offer nonpartisan political analysis. I cover South Carolina politics, federal politics, and I also talk about what the local impact is on South Carolinians. That I'd be happy to provide that as a conduit to provide you information from a nonpartisan perspective. Secondly, challenge your elected officials. When they tell you, well, I'm going to run on this platform, once they get elected, it does not stop there. That's when the work begins.
That's right.
If they run on a platform and say, well, you said that you'd run on these principles, hold them to that. And thirdly, if they don't, vote them out. So I look forward to establishing a line of communication. I hope that I can serve as a resource and answer any questions you may have about the political process. And together in 2012, we can change the electorate. It won't be politics as usual. People have to come before politics. Then and only then, when we do that, we will fix government, and it will be right and will work for all citizens, regardless of their political affiliation. Thank you.